full-fledged Avs v. Red Wings brawl of yesteryear. Now, I'm not going to lie. I'm not a zealot for fighting in the NHL. I've always understood the argument. I don't fully agree with the argument, but I've always understood the argument from the old school that there's a reason why there's fights in the NHL.
Do I need a headset or nah?
Nah.
Okay.
And you can talk right here.
All right, cool.
Wes, you good? Big Dog's good. Everybody's good. All right, talk a little football here on a Thursday afternoon ahead of our 3 o'clock Pirate Radio Live. Parker Moore, East Carolina offensive lineman, joining us inside the Pirate Radio studios. Parker, great to have you. How you doing, man?
Doing good. How you doing?
Doing great. Looking forward to the spring game and eventually the start of the 2024 ECU football season. But still a long ways to go before we get there. A lot of work to be done, Parker. So tell us how that work is going. How's day-to-day spring football going with you guys right now?
Spring's doing great right now, both sides of the ball. Guys are going back and forth, competing. Defense is making sure they're pushing us to the best of our ability, just like we're doing it with them, with our tempo and things like that. So it's pretty exciting. You
said before we jumped on that you personally feel like you're having your best spring, and yeah, I've heard a lot of guys say this in their last year. It's just kind of your last call, your last ride, so you got to make it count, right?
That's it, man. Just, attack every day like it's my last. You never know what could happen. So, every rep is important to me, even individual, team reps. Everything's got to be important.
I heard Dustin Hall in an earlier interview talk about the conditioning aspect, the speed you guys want to go, and he said, yeah, it's challenging, and we're getting used to it. So how about that part of it, trying to keep up with how fast John David Baker wants to go?
Yeah, at first it was a little bit of a difficulty, trying to get used to a tempo because we haven't ran that in the past. But, it started as soon as we started getting in the groove of things, things was moving well. And like this past scrimmage, like me and Dustin talked about it, we were just ready to go snap the ball, and we weren't even feeling tired. We were just playing football out there.
Parker, when you think about changing playbooks immediately, and it's like this with all things in football, we think about the skill guys, the quarterbacks. You guys get left behind, and we forget about you, important offensive linemen. But how about a new playbook and a new scheme and a new system? What's it like getting in the playbook and learning that for an offensive lineman?
I love the playbook. I mean, it's pretty simple. Obviously with tempo, they don't want you thinking. They want it to be easy to, execute the plays once the play gets called. And, for guys like myself and Dustin, it helps us out a lot because, we can just go out there and play and show our skills. Do you prefer the grinded out run blocking or the pass protection? Is one more fun to you? Is one easier than the other? How about the two of those? I love the run blocking because I can impose my will on the guy in front of me. Pass blocking, it allows me to show my talents, my athleticism, but I just love, moving people off the ball.
Parker, where are you looking to play this year? You're going to be at tackle?
Yeah, left tackle.
Left tackle is the spot. How's the continuity? You talked about before we got going the vets, and a lot of those guys up front. How about the returners and then adding a couple new guys in the mix? How's everybody gelling together right now?
Me and Dustin, we sit right beside each other in the locker room, and we have Darius who just came in from Maine, so he's with us, and then Hampton and those guys. We're all together. We're still in week 2.5 of football, so we're still trying to learn and mesh together and things like that. And it's pretty exciting, once we put the final project together.
I always heard the you want to be a nickel rather than 5 pennies, and then that where you got to be great individually, but you have to be great as a unit. And I guess that takes time to develop for you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. We have plenty of time. Like right now, we're just learning the playbook. Getting a grasp of how the offense gets ran. But when the summer comes and we have OTAs and workouts and things like that, our bond will be only stronger than what it is now. So I'm excited.
Parker Moore joining us, Pirate Radio Studios. Parker, you a rough 2023 all around for this ECU football team. Did you kind of feel that last off season, or once you got to the season, were you surprised that they were struggling to move the ball, struggling to get wins? Like, did it kind of catch you off guard?
It did catch me off guard because I mean, even weekly, like every game we prepare, like we're gonna beat the team that's up next, and even when we approached Michigan, I wholeheartedly believe to this day like we could still beat them. So it was no lack of confidence in the guys around me. I was very surprised at how the results went, but it's a learning experience, and we only get better from it.
And man, I give a lot of credit. I've talked about this with Coach Houston, with leaders like Rajay, and now I will with you yourself. That just to keep that locker room together, I think says a lot about the coaching staff, but says a lot about you guys too. And was that difficult when you go through those tough loss after tough loss that everything just didn't kind of break down? It seemed like you guys really did stick together.
Yeah, I mean, we have a great culture here, and even before I got here, you could see that the culture here was special. And like I always say, like when people ask me, like, what was it like when you transferred to ECU? It was a special feeling to me because guys were, dapping me up, smiling, giving me hugs, and I didn't even know their name. So, just to see that how genuine guys are and how close they were as a family was very important.
That's great. Let's talk about your background a little bit. So, where are you from, and who were you looking at high school? Who was looking at you, offering you? Where did you think about going, and kind of tell us where you got started?
So I'm from Charlotte, North Carolina. Played high school football at Mallet Creek, and for the legendary Coach P. He's in Georgia now, but I had a lot of schools coming out of high school. I was a 3-star, but I had a lot of schools looking at me. I originally committed to Maryland. But unfortunately, they had this situation happen with the player on the field.
Right, yeah.
Out, so my mom was like, "You're not going there." So after that, we made the decommitment announcement, and then I took another visit to West Virginia. And after the second visit I took to West Virginia, it was love there. I ended up committing there. Played 3 years there. Learned a lot. I redshirted. So also had the COVID year too, so this is why, this is year 6 for me, so get to maximize my eligibility. And ECU did recruit me when Coach Montgomery was here and things like that. I loved being at West Virginia at the time, and, I felt like when I wanted to transfer, I just wanted to, try something new, but also be close to home. So.
Yeah. And, man, in today's era, I hear coaches talk about this a lot. Don't burn any bridges. You could recruit a guy. He might go elsewhere, but stay in his good graces because you never know. And it's good good that you're here now. And you got a great story to tell that when you came in, the guys showed you love. I guess that's something you can pass along to recruits and guys in the portal that are thinking about coming to East Carolina.
Absolutely, and they embedded the culture within me. Like, I'm a genuine person overall, so I don't have anything ill will towards anybody. So when those guys came up to me and I didn't know their names and they introduced that to me, I felt comfortable. I felt comfortable with being myself, and I'm a very laid back, cool guy. So it was pretty exciting to have that environment around me.
How tough is it, Parker? And I hear about quarterbacks getting a new offensive coordinator every year, and how that kind of stunts their growth a little bit. Is it different with an offensive lineman if you're getting a different coach and hearing a different voice and things like that? Because you've gone through, 3 now, right?
Yeah, I've been, more than that. I mean, at West Virginia,
right.
I went through some coordinators as well. So I would just say, it helps us out because we get to learn more from different forms of offenses, different techniques. It expands our knowledge. It expands what we can do on the field when we're out there. So it's pretty exciting to learn, new things.
We got guys, old players that played here 30, 40 years ago that talk about Steve Shankweiler. What you kind of caught him on the tail end of his career. How about Coach Shank and playing for him? What was he like?
I love Coach Shank, man, and I say this all the time. Shank changed my game. Just when I got here, there's some things that I was struggling with a lot, and as soon as I got here, he worked with me a lot, and we fixed it. And even today, I still talk to Shank, and sometimes we'll go over film and things, watch guys that are at the next level that I look up to, like Trent Williams and those guys. So it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, and you already mentioned the name. I'm a Washington fan, so I like seeing Trent Williams do well. I wish he was in a Washington jersey instead of a Niners jersey. But who are some other guys you kind of look up to or enjoy watching play on the O-line?
I like watching Christian Darrisaw from the Vikings. I love Lane Johnson, from the Eagles. Yeah. I feel like me and Lane kind of have the same body type and things like that. So I try to, watch his film like that and look at Trent's footwork and try to mix it up. A lot of those guys, Laramie Tunsil as well, Andrew Thomas from the Giants, a lot of good names.
You mentioned your high school days. I'm assuming you were holding down the fort on the offensive line. Did you go both ways, and did they throw you a tight end or anything? Did you ever get the ball in high school?
Nah, I never got the ball in high school, but I did go both ways, all 4 years. So,
do you prefer O-line? I mean,
at the time, so I started playing O-line full-time my junior year of high school, and at the time I was like, I miss playing D-line, but then, I started to learn the culture of the O-line and, what it takes to be offensive lineman, and started to embrace it. So,
talking to Parker Moore here inside the Pirate Radio studios as spring ball rolls on for East Carolina, and Parker, you are excited about yourself individually, but this offense as well, and part of that is the newness and the talent you brought in at quarterback. So Caden Hauser, Jake Garcia, and Raheem Jeter, who was here last year, out there splitting the reps right now. And I don't know, is anybody above anybody, or is it pretty even out there?
You never know. All three of those guys are competing right now, and I love how the coaches are doing it. They're putting them with different groups and putting them around different people to see how they can adapt to that environment. And it's pretty exciting to see what's going to happen when we start putting on the pads in August and in the fall.
I have not talked to Raheem Jeter yet. I have met Jake Garcia and Caden Hauser. They both, from first impressions, very mature guys. They seem very focused on winning and performing, and I didn't catch a lot of immaturity from those guys. Am I pretty accurate with that read?
Absolutely. Those guys, when they first came in here, they wanted to make sure they were cool with the guys and things like that, and you can see it like in meetings and stuff. They sit in the front, they lead. Like there's times where after practice they'll bring all of offense together and have some words to say, and it's pretty exciting to see those guys grow because they're also younger too, but they're experienced, and it's cool to see those guys grow and become leaders.
Who are some younger linemen that are coming up that you are kind of helping along that you're excited about for the future at ECU?
I'm excited about Kojo Emmanuel Poku. He's a talented dude. He's very athletic. He's also from Charlotte, so I make sure I'm good with him. And I like Darius, who just came in from Maine. There's a lot of names I can list, that have a lot of potential, like Jamarion, Marlio. A lot of those guys, they're pretty good, so it's exciting. And,
man, about the time you got here, maybe a little bit before, ECU put a premium on bringing in defensive linemen, and that has paid off because that is certainly a strength for this team. How about battling those guys? Who's the toughest guy you got to face day in, day out?
Shoot, JD right now, he's an edge guy. So him and Chad, those guys, they push me every day, and I got to make sure I'm on my P's and Q's all the time. And even another guy off the edge that we just brought in from Louisville, Raheem, he's pretty good. So
just talked to a former tight end, Bryce Williams, and somebody had asked him on YouTube about fights and at practice, and he said most of the time it was O-line and D-line, not because they hate each other, because they're banging on each other constantly. So any of those skirmishes going on involving yourself, Parker?
Not myself. I'm usually the guy that I just get him in between the whistle. You get me, during the play before, I'm gonna get you next time I see you. So that I don't really waste my energy trying to fight anybody.
There you go. Get it while the play's going on. Talking to Parker Moore here inside the Pirate Radio studios. So what's this Thursday? You off today?
We actually have practice today. We're in sales today.
Oh, okay. Coming up later on today. And then another scrimmage coming up?
Yep, Saturday, man. It's exciting. This is where we put the final pieces together before the spring game.
How'd scrimmage go this past Saturday? I know Coach Houston said regardless of who won, he was happy it wasn't sloppy. And from that, I take, I guess, lack of penalties, maybe, turnovers, things like that. So did it go pretty smooth?
Yeah, it was actually pretty smooth. And I said this before, since I've been here, this is probably the most, locked in, both sides of the ball have been as far as execution. We got some things to clean up, obviously. The road to success is always under construction. So there's a lot of things, to be excited about. We had some explosives. We actually had a lot of explosives, and it's pretty exciting to see those guys on the perimeter, make plays down the field. We got to clean up some things in the run game and things like that, but it's pretty exciting.
And I keep going back to this, but this offseason, Coach Houston said he wanted the offense to to bring the aggression and really to have the confidence day in, day out that the defense had. And it's hard to have confidence when you're not succeeding. But so far, do you feel like the offense is taking it to the defense as much as Blake Harrell's guys are bringing it to you? Absolutely.
Like I said earlier, it's a lot of good competition. You know, defense, there's periods in practice where they'll get us, and then, you know, we'll hit them right back. And it's a boxing match out there. It's you know, it's pretty fun to have good competition like that. It makes you better, and it makes the guys across from you better. You know, iron sharpens iron. So.
No doubt. Parker, Coach Houston's also said that what happened last year will not happen again. You're doing everything you can to make sure that happens. But what are some of those things that do you use last year's motivation, or do you put it all behind you and say, hey, there's nothing you can do about it now? Like, how do you use what happened last year?
A little bit of both. You know, I didn't have the best season myself either, and just learning from the things that happened last season. You know, how can I get better from it? But also, you know, like what I did last year doesn't really matter. It's about from here on forward. So.
Yeah. What did you got your degree?
Yes, sir. Just graduated in December.
Congratulations. What'd you get your degree in?
Communications.
All right, good deal. You want to continue your football career before you go into that field?
Absolutely. You know, after the season, you know, work out to be in the NFL someday, you know, wherever it takes me, you know, I'm excited for it.
Yeah, and look, we got guys, Tyler Snead winning a Grey Cup. We got Isaiah Winstead scoring a touchdown. Did you see any of that the other day?
I saw that, man.
That was awesome.
I love it for Tig, man.
Yeah, Holden trying to get on the field right now, but he's having a blast there. And Noah Henderson there as well. I talked to
those guys right before the game, too. You know, those guys are working hard, and it's excited to see where they're at right now.
And they just had Pro Day recently, so we're wishing the best for guys like Julius Wood and Jeremy and Jalen Johnson. Have you talked to anybody, any scouts or anything like that?
Not right now. Just you know, just focusing on right now. Just here at ECU.
That's all you can do.
Better.
Be where your feet are, coaches like to say. So, well, Parker, good stuff, man. Any thoughts on the scrimmage coming up this weekend? What do you want to see from yourself, your offense, and the team?
Honestly, just get better and, you know, clean up some things that we made mistakes on from the last scrimmage. You know, just learn from it and, you know, put the final pieces together. Good stuff. Well, Parker, we'll talk to you on the practice fields and certainly throughout this upcoming football season. But thank you for joining us today, man, and wish you the best of luck. Yes, sir. Appreciate it. Yes, sir. Parker Moore joining us here in the Pirate Radio studios. We'll be back at 3 o'clock for an all-new edition of Pirate Radio Live. We'll talk to you then.